Alrighty. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to But I Did It. Today, I have a special guest, Mr. Martyn Williams. He is an adventure and expedition leader who has traveled to some of the most extreme environments on the planet. He's led numerous global expeditions and is one of the individuals who has crossed Antarctica under human power. Martyn, thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you. And I love the title of your show. I think it's so good, but I did it. In fact,
Yes.
I just actually have a book called Sure, Let's Go that ties in. It's basically the same thing. Sure, let's go. It's the same as, but I did it, in some ways.
Right. That's really all that this podcast is about, is just sharing those moments of pushing through, of being able to start out on a new adventure and show others that it's possible. And so when you reached out and you were sharing with me some of the expeditions that you've done and crossing Antarctica, I was like, oh, yes, this is great. I definitely want to hear more about this. And so I'd love to start with your background. What first sparked your interest in exploration in extreme environments?
So, yeah. So I grew up in Liverpool, England. Liverpool, England is the Beatles come from Liverpool, England. You probably know,
Okay.
but it's a very sort of industrial city, and so we would go out walking in Wales, which is lovely, lovely countryside. Every Sunday, we'd either go to church or out into the country, and I just loved
Uh-huh.
going out in the country, and so I felt so much at ease in the country and so joyous that I thought, well, how do I do this more? So in some ways it ties into but I did it. Instead of following the regular path, I started going out more and more into nature and thought, no, no, no. Every time I came back from nature into the city, and I'd get on a bus, and everybody would be sitting on the bus with their sort of almost blank expressions on their face, not very joyous.
Hmm.
And meanwhile, I was coming in all joyful being in nature. I thought, well, where's the joy? Right? Well, the joy is in nature, so let me go out more. So then I started rock climbing at age 14, and my two brothers were very good at other sports. I was the youngest of three, and so if you look at it from a psychological perspective, it was that I couldn't compete with them. So I found something that was my niche, right? That was my own, that I could pursue.
Yes.
So then I followed that, I started doing rock climbing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. I just kept on following what I loved. And yeah, so then at age 18, it was a question of, well, what do I do now? Do I go into a career and a profession, or do I attempt to go to university and go to university where I could keep on climbing? I went to
Hmm.
university where I could keep on climbing. So it kept on going, this whole, your theme of, but I did it. Often I would come to a decision point. Do I want to follow what I love? Or do I
Hmm.
value home, or not so much home, but security, stability,
Right.
safety, all those sorts of things? And what I see is that the more we go with what we embrace, the more
Mm.
things open up for us in life too, and
Yes.
the less we feel constrained by life.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
following your passion has actually shown to be, like you said, the better option. You're still able to survive and have your needs met, but you're also have that joy, the joy of being able to do what you actually want to do in life and pursue. And so that's great. I want that to be spread more. Like, I am in a place now where I'm able to actually do that, and I'm finding myself struggling, like you said, kind of the odds of, do I want to go and continue to pursue what's actually bringing me joy? Or do I want to stay in this safe place of, I know this is what's going to provide for me and that I will be okay. And so it's scary when you want to go out and pursue your passion and step out there, but having that faith of knowing, how can I fail at something I love doing? And so you
Hmm.
did that. You took that leap of faith, and that's great.
Yeah, and I see that also. So, in terms of how do we get to, but I did it. Sometimes there's an element too of just setting a goal or having an idea, right? And
Hmm.
once the idea becomes in us, then it can be the propulsion, it can be the fuel that helps us. So, for
Yes.
instance, I'll give you an example. At age 16, I went to the Alps with my parents, and the Alps in Europe, and there's mountains, and saw all these gorgeous mountains. And I saw
Hmm.
people working as mountain guides. I said, wow, I want to become a mountain guide. I said to my dad, want to become a mountain guide, Dad? And my dad said, well, you're from Liverpool, there's no mountain guides in Liverpool. You need to grow up in a
Okay.
Swiss village to become a mountain guide. It's passed on from father to son, you know? And so there's no way you can become a mountain guide. So I just held on to that vision of I want to become a mountain guide. And then 5 years
Mhm.
later, age 22, I've now moved halfway around the world. I'm in northern Canada and I get a phone call. I've been climbing all the time since. I get a phone call saying, would you guide this group on this particular mountain? Right? And so, but it
Wow.
was not in Switzerland. And then that's happened multiple times in my life where I've had an idea, as long as I hang on to the idea and sort of feel it in my body, even if the path isn't clear, it's not
Mhm.
an obvious path, a circuitous path that can take us halfway around the world and up a different mountain and down a river and etc. unfolds to get us there. So often, and that's happened multiple times in my life. So it's really about just what does inspire us, hang on to that, you know?
Yes. And so is that how did Antarctica start for you? Was that something that kind of was planted for you? Someone gave you that idea and then it kind of grew from there? Or is it how you said from before, is something that just was born in you? You always had this yearn and you just held on to that idea until it came.
Yeah, so with the Antarctic one, I'd always wanted to go to Antarctica and do expeditions in Antarctica. And so
Mhm.
the idea had been sitting there for like 10 or 15 years. Then a buddy of mine came and said, he wanted to climb the highest peak in Antarctica. So there was no logistics, nothing in place, zero basically. So we started making phone calls. We made phone calls all over the world to try and find out how to get there. And eventually we
Mhm.
found there were some very wealthy people who wanted to go. They had the same desire. So they said, we were broke, but they said, well, we will fund the expedition if you run the logistics. So we ended up with some very wealthy people and we did the logistics and they came along. And it took us actually 3 years, and two attempts. We even got to a place in Antarctica where the plane got damaged and we had to turn around. So we came back and, and it was, we came back, we got home safely, but then it was, do we
Mhm.
go give up? No, we're not giving up. We're going to go, we'll try yet another system. So we kept on trying and trying and trying till eventually, after 3 years, we got to the mountain and climbed the mountain,
Oh
and,
my gosh. And so
and
3
then,
years of just kind of telling yourself this is going to happen. And again, you don't actually have a set out map. You're not completely
no,
sure
that's
of
right.
the exact
Zero.
steps.
In fact, we were we were running a business too, startup business. So we were sleeping on a concrete floor in a little office, and we were going right next to us was a farmer's market. And every night they would put all these fresh veggies that were going bad into the dumpster. So we were dumpster diving to get the veggies out to cook on our little camp
Yes.
stoves on the concrete floor. And then we'd hop out of it, but then in the morning we'd hop onto the desk and be sending emails and planning stuff. And that ended up being a multi-million-dollar business. And
Wow.
yeah. So fast forward, it took us 10 years, but then it was, 3 years. But by year five, it was worth multi-millions of dollars. But again, it was that we have an idea, we think this can work. Let's just keep on,
Mhm.
let's keep on working away at it.
And that's really all it takes. I think that, it's so easy to get caught up, and especially I feel like in today's society with the thought of I want something the instant. It's gonna happen overnight. And that's not reality. The
Hmm.
reality is
Hmm.
it's going to take time, but that's what
Hmm.
we have. We have time. We have more time than we realize if we would,
Hmm.
just slow down and let things work itself out. And so, like you said, 10 years going into, your business, and now you're at the point where you see the results, you know that it was worth it, but it didn't start like that. You started, like you
Hmm.
said, from ground zero and built something up. Um, and I think just today, just before we started, I kind of told you like today feels like a Monday all over again. And so today was kind of like one of those days where I haven't had the best encounters. I'm kind of getting a bit of negativity throughout this day. And so I was running late with, with our podcast today. And so getting here and going. And it's just one of them things now having this conversation with you. I am so grateful because I was having those thoughts of like, what am I doing this for? What is the point of that constant trying. But if you don't fail, then you're not trying, you know? And
Hmm.
so having
Yeah.
those moments of
Yeah.
failure are so important. And we kind of forget that and throughout the process because you only want to see your high points, you know? Like you
Yeah.
said, then yeah, at the point where now you're living it. You're living your dream. You've traveled the world. You've had, expeditions that were funded and just this business and company worth millions. It didn't start out that way, but it's so great
Hmm.
that you continue to go through. Once you were actually out there, I keep kind of going back to Antarctica because I've never been. And
Yeah.
so
Yes.
I really want to hear more about it. I'm like, I cannot think about I can't even imagine how cold it is. Like right now, I feel like I'm freezing and it's only like 47
Hmm.
degrees. And so I
Hmm.
can't even
Hmm.
imagine how cold you were. But what was that like? Actually been out there on a day-to-day life. How long did it take you to climb the mountain?
So, I've done a bunch of different expeditions, but one of the longest ones was going to the South Pole. We skied to the South Pole and it was 50 days. So almost
50
2 months.
days. Wow.
And and typically what we'd do, we'd be traveling for 10 hours a day into a bit of a headwind, and the temperature would be -10, -20 with a 10-mile-an-hour headwind, And so we would wear face masks and,
Mhm.
just, yeah, very warm jackets, and we would haul a sled with all our food on it. So we estimated we were consuming around 6,000 calories a day. We were burning 6,000 calories a day. So the big problem was how to get 6,000 calories a day on a sled that doesn't weigh a huge amount. So it ended up being about 2.25 pounds of food each day to give the 6,000 calories.
And so,
But then we'd have all
like,
that food on a sled. So we'd be hauling a sled weighing about 150 pounds.
what kind of food? Like, what did you was it like fresh fruits and veggies? Because in that kind of condition, that weather, what do you
No, so basically, so everything freezes at -40, everything's frozen, right? So I'll tell you
Yeah.
one of my early expeditions, we thought, those five of us going on this expedition, we were going into temperatures of -30, and we thought, well, let's save cost, let's buy a big block of cheese, right? So we bought this huge block of cheese like this, because we're going to be
Mhm.
out there for 2 weeks, right? And so we thought we'd save money, and we get out there, now it's frozen, and now we have it's like a rock, right? A frozen rock,
Yes.
and we're hungry. And so we're attacking it. What we don't have saws or anything. So we're attacking. We have ice axes and we're trying to break off chunks. But then every time we hit it, it's in snow, so it goes deeper into the snow. So this thing is like it's like the cheese is trying to sneak away from us. It's like the cheese is alive and it's trying to hide from us while we're trying to get it with the ice axes. So we realized after that, no, no, no. We have to cut everything up super small, advanced, pack it up super tight. And so every meal is really carefully packaged, and really carefully weighed
Okay.
out. And then also because um, if for 50 days, food becomes then it has a huge psychological impact. So if it's boring, we get bored.
Mhm.
If the food is exciting or variety, so we have to very deliberately add as much variety as possible into the food while keeping it compact, and no fresh,
Wow.
nothing can be fresh because that would freeze solid. And most fresh
Right.
stuff contains lots of water, which is heavy. So no apples, no oranges, no fruit, all things like breakfast would be porridge, you know, lunch would be granola type bars, supper would be rice and veggies, rice and not, freeze dried veggies or soup.
Yeah. And were you able
Yeah.
to, like, make a fire out there? How did you do that? Or did you
How do we do what?
bring
Sorry?
were you able to, like, make a fire, or did you bring, like, a portable stove? Did you take a portable stove with
Yeah, we
you?
bring the little stoves. We bring fuel with us and a stove. So we have to carry,
Okay.
you know, so that's also on the sled. So on the sled is,
Yes. So you
there's the
have this
tent, the
huge
sleeping bag. Yeah, 30 or 40 days worth of food and in bags all packed up neatly, day one, day two, and then a stove with a certain amount of fuel too. And we have to work out, exactly how much fuel because, it's hard to
weight.
pull, now you're pulling the sled.
Wow. And so I know you said psychologically, meals, the food like that also played a part in it. So what was your preparation like in going into this to be mentally prepared, emotionally prepared? Because now once you're out there, you're out there. It's not like I
Yes,
changed my mind.
that's right. Yeah. 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 What I see there is that, and I'll summarize this as preparation for life too. So
Okay.
life is constantly throwing at us unexpected, right? And so
Yes.
so it's how it's being good at handling the unexpected that makes the difference in the quality of our life. So today, for instance, you probably had 20 unexpected things, right, that happen, or
Mhm.
maybe even 100 or 120. And it's how do we handle each unexpected,
Yes.
maybe even higher. My sort of is my bar too
Yeah, I'm like, today was just it was one of them days.
okay? Okay, so then maybe and heading, and then how we handle each one that then affects often when we handle it well, the next one we handle more with ease. But if we handle one badly, the next one that comes along, we already feel bad from handling the first badly. So then we handle the next one badly, the next one badly. So
Mm,
it's that ability to handle the unexpected that really decides the quality of our day, then our week, month, year, and life, right? Because our life is all
yes.
just made up of moments, right? And so, the ideal world, we're handling every moment with joy, right? We're in every moment with joy,
Yeah.
and that's the ideal. But then,
Right, exactly.
because we have our perceptions, our patterns, our desires,
Mhm.
often we end up, you know, expectations are not met. We get disappointed. So that's a very so it's how to handle unexpected situations effectively. I think is a crucial thing.
Yeah.
Coming back to some of the things I've heard you say before, I just want to emphasize for the listeners. I've heard you speak about the morning routine.
Yes, yes.
When I look at all the things that help us handle unexpected better, it's really good morning routines can really help. Super good evening routines can help set us up to be more resilient, more able, more something that struck with me that that the more we risk, the more we expand, we never come back quite to the same shape. We're an elastic band. We stretch, but then we don't come back. The band keeps stretching out.
Right.
So the more we take these little adventurous steps, the more horizons open up for us.
Yes. Yes, I love that. Yeah. So, can you share with me a little bit like what do some of your routines look like as far as a morning routine, afternoon? Do you have morning and afternoon or is it just like your morning?
Yeah. So my morning typically when I wake up,
Mhm.
I normally very deliberately start off laughing and smiling.
Okay.
And literally just laughing for no reason. Just here I am, I'm back. Oh, it's me
Right.
again.
It's me again. I love that. Yeah.
I'm here. Oh, look, I have a body. So I'm married, and so my wife and I typically will then we'll sing and we'll dance and we'll do just goofy songs. We'll throw in funny words. We'll take a song that we like and we'll just add words in and just laugh at the words with, the silly stuff. And then
Mhm.
dance sort of just not structured, rhythmic dance, just sort of, again, being, from my perspective, if we are deliberately goofy, we're setting
Yeah.
ourselves up to be at ease with life because there's so much in life that wants to make us serious, right? And
Yes.
yet,
Yes.
when we approach life from a very light-hearted perspective, then things flow off us way easier. And
Yes.
I look at resilience in some ways as being tied in with lightheartedness. So
Okay.
resilience is not I'm not made out of steel. I'm not sort of this, I can plow my way through anything because I'm resilient. No,
Right.
I'm resilient because I can laugh my way through things. I can
Oh my gosh,
see,
yes.
yeah, I can see the humor behind them.
Yeah, as you say that, that's
And I can see the silliness of my sort of, I can laugh at myself for my human responses. So rather than me getting sort of this, if I find myself a bit frustrated or whatever, I tend to look at that. I'm being human. There I go again. Let me just sort of
right.
laugh at myself.
That's a great concept is I I have children, and so I'm always trying to find different ways to make that morning routine just a little bit more easier. Waking up with myself is one thing, and trying to keep, like you said, that great mindset. Oh, it's another day. I'm here. And then taking that to, a child who does not understand. It's like, oh, I want to sleep in. Oh, I don't want to, I don't want to go to school today.
Mhm.
And so honestly, that is great. Laughing, joking, just starting the morning off with some humor. It's not one of my strong points, honestly. I'm not very good at being humorous, but definitely something I feel like I can incorporate in my morning routine. And I like how you gave that example of like being resilient. It's not because I'm just this still and I'm able to push through anything, but more so the
Mhm.
capability of being flexible, of being able to
Right.
allow your day to day to just roll off of you and not get stuck. Being light, just being able to be so light that you're flowing through life instead of being
That's right.
weighed
Yes.
down.
No,
Yeah.
that's living it.
All the expeditions that you've been on and just the traveling and everything that you've done, how do you feel like that has flown into or contributed into your personal growth as a human being today?
Yeah, I really see that, because now I work as a coach also, right? And so I really see that so many of these expeditions and these experiences gave me emotional intelligence and emotional resilience. So, by doing these things, they helped me develop emotional intelligence and emotional resilience, which then translates into also the confidence too, is that, I'm okay trying new things.
Mhm.
I was again coming back to, but I did it. So it's just,
Yeah.
hey, I could have gone that way, which was safe, or I could have gone over this way, which was a bit more risky, financially risky, maybe emotionally risky, but I did it.
Yes. But you did it. But you did
Yeah.
it. And you're better for it today.
Perfect. Yes. And I see that, I see this also applies. So one can look at it through the lens of just physicality. So I'm out there trekking along, very physical, but then also
Mhm.
that helps me mentally. I then develop the confidence and the focus, things like that. And emotionally, so we're in a storm for a couple of days, right? There's 5 people in a tent and we're stuck in a storm for 5 days. And so it's either going to be a horrible experience or a great experience, right?
Mhm.
And so make it a great experience. We're here 5 days. We don't have, or,
Right.
let's just, and so then that develops that emotional resilience too. Also,
Yes.
what, in terms of emotions, I also see that the more we can express, many people shy away from expressing their emotions, but
True.
but I did it, the more I express, the more I reveal about myself to myself and about myself to others. But
Yes.
I think it's very much about revealing to myself too. This does make me feel upset or whatever.
Mhm. And I think that just in hearing you saying that, like, because like you said, a lot of people sometimes shy away from that emotion. And I think it's more of a defense. Like, oh, I don't want people to see me as weak or to know that I have, this kind of emotions towards this or anything. I don't want anyone to see me cry or I only want to
Mm,
show this one emotion. But in doing that, you tend to hide from yourself as well. And so
mhm,
like you said, being able to open up and be emotional with others also allows you to have that with yourself because we
mhm,
get caught up with trying to be one way for the world. And then when do you break character? When are you going to let that guard down, that defense down, and be genuine with yourself? And so
mhm.
it's really important that, yeah, that emotional intelligence, taking the time to say, I'm okay for somebody else to know, like, that hurt my feelings, or I'm okay to let you see me even in anger. Yes, I was angry and I'm having this emotion, but I'm okay. I'm human. I'm having a human experience.
Yes, that's right.
I was going to ask, what is one takeaway you hope the listeners can apply in their own lives today, even if they never decide to become an expeditious or step foot out, their normal comfort zone? What is something that you would want them to try to take away today?
Great, great question. So I got a couple. One would be
Okay.
that um, that small, so if you think you're doing something, start off super small, but keep the momentum going. So if you like a
Yes.
morning habit, start off with it super small, but keep the repetition going. And then it will, what I see is when we, if it's even the simplest morning habit, whatever you want to choose, if you, after 5 or 6 days of repeating it and repeating it, it also affects your confidence. So then it's not just about the habit, it's also affecting your whole being and your whole confidence, so pick something and just work it. That would be one thing. And the other
Yes.
one is about joy, is really just look at, keep on asking, how can I be at ease or ultimately enjoy with the situation, And at
Yes.
first you're going to say, absolutely not. I cannot be enjoy with this person or this situation or whatever. But the more you ask the question, the more you start realizing, well, actually, I could be a little bit happier. I could be okay. Now I'm in joy
Hmm.
with it, So even things like, I give an example would be a car crash. Your
Yes.
car has just been involved in a car crash and you're standing there. There's actually nothing. If you're safe, the other driver's safe, there's just the logistics of sorting it out, right? That's all it is,
Hmm.
right? There's no need for any emotion, So can you be at ease and joy and relaxed in your being, just as I've seen you also speak about breathing. Can you just stand
Yeah.
there, breathe, relax, and breathing so much that you end up going, actually, I'm totally okay here. I'm at
Right.
total ease with this situation. And then from there, what happens is when we're at total at ease, creativity flows. So typically when we're at ease like that, we're likely to go over to the other person and say, hey, how you doing? Are you okay? And
Yeah.
we'll maybe even start interacting with people very differently when you are completely at ease. You
Yes.
bring a totally different energy to the situation.
That peace, that calmness. Yes. So Martin, what would you say is next for you?
Uh-huh.
What's next after you've had so much life, so much accomplishments? What's next?
A good question. So I now live in a place where I can be out in nature every day, and there's a lake nearby where I can go paddling, and there's hills where I can go climbing and stuff. And there's places in the world to explore, but also I'm feeling like giving back more. There's more I feel like I can give back to humanity. I just produced a book about my adventures, and I'm appearing on podcasts like this to share my story. So this is in some ways this feels like what's next is sharing these stories with others to help them.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Martin, for sharing your incredible story, your energy with us. You have such great energy. And I feel like, how can you not? You're living the life that you dreamed of. You made it a reality
Oh,
for yourself. And that's
thank
incredible.
you.
And that's
Yes,
what I
yes, you're right.
really, yes, for our listeners, it's definitely possible. No, we dream, but a dream can be our reality if we just, like you said, take it one step at a time. So thank you so much. Your journey is such a reminder that resilience is a choice, and sometimes the conditions don't have to be extreme for us to tap into our power. I'm sorry if you could share your book one more time, and I will also link um
Okay, yeah,
your
sure, yeah.
yes
So it's called Sure, Let's Go, and it says to the ends of the earth and a bit past that.
in a
So
bit past that. I love yes.
yeah.
Thank you again, Martin. To everyone listening, whatever your Antarctica looks like in life, remember, it's your belief that gets you across. Thank you for tuning in to But I Did It. Until next time, keep moving forward with intention, courage, and self belief. Bye, everybody.